Thanks for coming to talk tennis. I already pushed record. So
All right, here we go.
Here we go.
Let's ride.
Let's ride. Let's play more doubles. Let's talk about doubles. Today we have from the Tennis Tribe, Will, or would I say that from the Tennis Tribe, or you just Will Tennis Tribe? How do you go by? What do you go by?
Will from the Tennis Tribe.
Nice. He created his own
works.
tribe.
Yeah.
And Troy, of course.
Yeah.
From the Tennis Warehouse.
I pretty much only play with 4 people on the court.
I know.
Or more. 2 people
At
on the court is
least.
scary.
required.
Yeah. 1 person on
You
each
have
side
to
of the
cover
net.
too
No.
much. Yeah, the court's too big.
Yeah.
I should have
6.
never made it that way. That was a
Sometimes in
mistake.
our session at the country club, we play triples.
I am here
I
for
love that.
triples.
Yeah, baby.
So I call it rip your face off.
Oh, shoot. Yeah.
Just
I played that.
saying.
I played that.
And there's a fun way to, I don't know how you guys play, but there's a fun way to feed it. So when you rotate, the person on the ad side's coming for a running forehand.
Hmm.
And so it kind of
Oh.
makes it a
And
little
another
more,
person drops in behind him.
yeah, something like that.
I don't know if I'd want to play rip your face off on the other side of the
No,
net
I
for
do.
Michelle.
Let's go. I'm in.
Mm-mm.
So like,
She hits hard and
I
like.
need a big racket.
Yeah.
That's-
I can maybe 2 rackets.
that's going to go into my questions because I am constantly trying to get my girls' high school team to be more aggressive and
Oh.
go for players
Yeah.
at the net. I always say
But go at their feet, though, right?
hit
Go at
their
their
feet
feet.
because
Okay.
if you go for their face and they duck, your ball's going to be out.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. Icebreaker question. Is this your first time to Tennis Warehouse?
It is.
And what was your
First time to
experience? Oh, really?
Yeah,
So far, what are
it
your
is.
first impressions?
It's beautiful here.
It's nice.
The weather's amazing.
Don't tell anyone.
Yeah, I really like it here. I've actually, this I don't know if I've shared this before, but
Oh.
when I tell people, about Tennis Tribe, my business, I'm like, if I ever have to actually like get a job,
A job.
I'd probably apply at Tennis Warehouse. I love it here.
Dude, bring it.
I'm going to say, well, I'm sure you
I,
could.
I just y'all's
find a
company
place.
culture. I mean, I don't know. I know this is not well, I guess I can promote Tennis Warehouse on the podcast too, right? But yeah, I love y'all's company. The facility's been great. Yeah, everybody's so nice. It's awesome here.
Did you expect it to be this big building?
I didn't really know what to expect. Yeah, I was telling Grace that yesterday because she asked me the same question, and I was like, I don't know if I had particular expectations.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if it exceeded or
I know.
my expectations or what. But it's been awesome.
I think we take it for granted sometimes because we've been here for a while, but like I feel like recently we had someone new come in and they were like, wait, and you have a tennis court in the warehouse? And then
Yeah.
like you're like walking around and they like have seen so much already, and then you go to the tennis court and it's just like I don't know. It's just it's home for us.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
The-
kind of
the-
cool.
You get used to it.
Yeah.
The feedback I've gotten from people that have visited, or even like people that come from our East Coast distribution in Alpharetta, just the building size with a bigger, more space, and then they come here and it's like everything is just like so cozy. I mean, literally though, like if you look at like our office dynamic,
Troy
like
and I
me
are
and
like
Michelle's
5
desk
feet
are
apart.
like,
Like
it's like a computer screen, like the vibes are there,
Yeah.
the
know.
vibes.
Called
we know
efficient.
if anyone's
It's how-
having a good
yeah,
day.
That's
or
how
a
you
bad
build
day.
team chemistry.
Oh man,
You're working right next to this person. You
We
share
are-
elbow space.
We are truly a family, gone the good and the bad days,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think. Okay, and then I was doing some recon work for this, and we're going to start with a hot take, but I want to hear your hot take on at pro tennis matches, the crowds moving freely about or being allowed to only get to
What?
their seats
Why-
over the change.
Why are you leading with this question? This
I
is-
just like it was so interesting. I was asking Grace how your guys' dinner went and everything, and she's like, Will has a hot take, and I was like, he doesn't strike me as, without any context, she said that,
Yeah.
and I'm like, he doesn't really strike me as someone that's going to be like controversial. So like, what's the hot
I
take?
I don't even consider it a hot take. So like every other sport is like this. Maybe golf's the exception. I think that. So let me go back to like the analogy I was using. I always use this with everybody. So like last year I was at the U.S. Open. I had a friend who lived in New York, never played tennis, never been to the U.S. Open, brand new to the sport.
Yeah.
So I bring him to New York. This wasn't the case, but this could happen, theoretically. So let's say we have Ash tickets. So we walk in, it's 0-0 in the second set.
Mm-hmm.
We walk up to the gate, like oh, we have to wait here. Wait, what do you mean we have to wait here? Well, we have to wait for the next changeover because you can't go in until there's a changeover. Okay, I guess we can wait here. All right, it's 1-0. Well, they're changing sides. Well, no, not on 1-0. You have to wait till it's 3 games because it's the beginning of the set. Okay, so we wait for 20 minutes. Are you having fun so far? No, of course he's not having fun. Like, it's a terrible experience so far. So then we go in, we watch a few games, and then let's say it's like 3-4, 15-love. He's like, okay, I'm going to go get another beer. Like, do you want one?
You're like, uh-oh.
Oh, no. We got to wait another, and this is a long deuce game if it's singles or even doubles at the Grand Slams. So I think we should have free fan movement. I think people should be able to go in and out during the middle of a point or in between points or whatever. I also think that the crowd should not have to be quiet. I think like NBA players shoot free throws and the crowd's going nuts behind them. If everybody's talking, it kind of drowns itself out. And I think the players can get used to it because the people in the stands are the customers. So I think it's going to trend this direction. I think it's going to take, 20 years to get there. But they've already started experimenting with it on the doubles tour.
Okay.
This year, they did some free fan movement in Madrid. I know in DC, they even mic'd up some of the doubles players for TV, which was really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Hey,
That's giving
like
me
Mookie
MLB
Betts.
in the outfield.
So like, I think doubles will be kind of an experimenting ground for them. But I think over time, it's going to shift in that direction because it's a better experience for the fans. And I think the players can get used to the movement. Medvedev's great about it, right?
That's
Like,
cool.
he just
Actually,
serves,
yeah.
you know?
Well, and like even hearing like I didn't know they mic'd people up. That's cool because like how much more engaging is that? And
Yeah.
like then you're like actually invested in what's happening and you're like,
Well, this
wait.
is the thing that F1 did. Like F1 started doing this. I read an article about it. It was like, I think it was 2006 or 2010, something like that. They started just making the TV. They focused on the TV experience. I think tennis, we should focus on both.
Yeah.
Because F1's different from a fan experience because the track's so big. But when Netflix came along with that F1 series, like they had already invested all of this, these resources into making an awesome TV experience.
Oh, wow.
So Netflix just added fuel to the fire.
Okay.
And when Netflix came along for tennis, like tennis hadn't been doing that. Like if you watch a tennis match from 98 and 2018, like it's almost the same experience.
Right.
It's like we weren't ready. And then 2 years later, like Netflix cancels the series.
Oh, did they cancel it? I need more.
I think they did. I don't think
Breakpoint.
they're doing a third one. So, I mean, I'm not like blaming anybody in particular, but I think
No.
like as a sport, like we need to innovate. And they're starting to be forced to do some of that, I believe.
That's cool.
Dang, dude.
I know.
It's like-
That makes me excited.
I mean, I've been to been to pro football games, pro baseball games, a couple basketball games. I sat in the black hole for a Raiders game. Now, if tennis starts turning into like that vibe,
I'm gonna
dude,
be trolling. Like,
people are gonna have face paint and shoulder pads.
how cool would that be?
Dude, how about the Cowboys fans? You know,
We're not talking about the Cowboys.
Well, last night the Chiefs fans were going pretty crazy, but anyways, I'm
No,
big into
that's
other
cool.
sports. I'm
Yeah.
big into UFC.
Well, I don't know. It does create more of an emotional connection to the sport, I
Yeah.
think.
And I get I'm on I guess a more extreme end of it, but there's certainly a balance we can
Yeah.
find.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like we might do it. I know they've talked about like from the 21st row up. Is
Okay,
free
yeah,
fan movement,
exactly.
You know, so that it's not in the player's line of eye. And like I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
For now.
Well, and hopefully it will trickle down to the rec level because I'm so sick of people playing tennis at public courts and like someone's phone goes off or a car alarm goes off and they like make a big deal about it.
Yeah.
Like let's all just be a little more.
Yeah, dude.
It's fine. Let it go.
No,
Uh,
that'd be cool to experience and
Yeah.
see how it works.
Yeah. I mean, Davis Cup and Fed Cup Billie Jean Cup is like that kind as
Yeah.
close as it
pretty
gets
loud.
to
It gives
that
you more of that,
experience.
like-
Or college tennis even.
yeah, the Davis Cup and the Fed Cup or Billie Jean King.
Yeah.
It gives you more of that like European football vibe.
Yeah, you
know,
were
yeah.
Yeah, and when I had I talked to Matt Ebden, had him on my podcast earlier this year, and he was on the Players Council this year.
Okay.
I don't know if he is going to be next year or not. I think it's like 2-year terms, but he talked about like what he wants doubles to be going forward, and he talked about like having music in between points.
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff too.
that'd be epic. Walkout songs.
Almost like team tennis.
Yeah,
World
Yeah.
Team Tennis
just
vibe.
like really fun.
Yeah.
World Team Tennis was great.
Yeah.
Like it was so much fun to watch. I even attended at Indian Wells in 20. I think it was 22. It was the last year
Yeah.
they did it, and there was no one there because they didn't really like promote it locally much.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think the format is a lot of fun.
Agree. Yeah. I'm here. We're here for it. If you need us to sign the petition,
Yeah.
we'll stamp it. Okay, so let's go back to your kind of like start doubles. Why doubles? Why you're so passionate about doubles? How you became so smart and ingrained in the doubles style doubles
Yeah.
life.
I started Tennis Tribe. It was just a blog and a newsletter. 2016. So I'd moved to Austin, Texas. I started playing some like local USTA leagues and tournaments just as a way to kind of meet people. And I had background in digital marketing and building websites. So I was like, I'm going to just build a doubles website because I'm starting to get fascinated by this. Like as I'm on the court, I'm like studying the other players. And then while my friends are playing, I'm like at the fence kind of watching and figuring out what works and what doesn't because I want to win.
Yeah.
And so I started the website and started the newsletter and basically just asked people I met and friends at tournaments, like, can I add you to my newsletter? So it was like, I don't know, 50 or 100 people maybe. And then slowly over the next like year or so, I would write a new blog post every like week or two, just whenever I had time. And eventually I would go to these tournaments around Texas and people would walk up to me and say, hey, you're the guy, the doubles newsletter guy. Like it's helped me so much. And that's when I started to think like, oh, maybe I'm good at this.
Yeah.
Like, because it was very intuitive to me. And, you know, like that's, you know, when you're choosing like a career path or business or whatever, like you want to find something that's like easy for you, that's like not easy for other people. Right. And it was very easy for me to like figure these things out and explain them in a way that made sense and helped people change the way they play. So, fast forward to 2018, I started reviewing gear. That's when I partnered with Tennis Warehouse. 2020, I started the Doubles podcast and started reaching out to pro doubles players and coaches and interviewing them. And then I realized, like, why have I heard of like the numbers? Why do I know like all of the top 10 singles players and like 2 of the top 10 doubles players? Like, this doesn't make sense to me. Yet everyone plays doubles. Like, I don't necessarily think it has to be as popular as singles. Like maybe it can never get that popular. Maybe it can. I don't know. But I certainly think it can be more popular than it is now. So in 2022, I launched like the Watch More Doubles t-shirts and like kind of campaign with Gabby Dabrowski and some other WTA players at Indian Wells. And then since then, I've continued to do my strategy lessons on my blog and YouTube channel and Instagram, and I'm even working with some pro teams now. So I do scouting and strategy analysis for some WTA and ATP teams as well.
That's cool.
And have gotten into kind of the analytics side as well. So there's a lot of pieces to it, but it's very much focused around doubles because to me it's like a very underserved market. So that's kind of the story.
That's awesome. I was just like, I think it's so cool that now you're being consulted at like this high level of these players. And Troy and I are very familiar with the doubles side because a lot of our sponsored pros are doubles specialists. And there's such like an interesting perspective with some of the fans, or not even fans, but people that watch tennis, or even some, we can call them YouTube trolls or whatnot. We've gotten, you know, some comments with some of the Team T-Dub players. And if you know me, you know, like if I like you and you're my friend, I'll go to war for you. But they will like look up their singles and they're like, that's not a pro, even though like, you know, they might be top 50 WTA doubles or like other like played this, you know, have had these amazing wins. And it's just like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
There is that kind of stereotype or dynamic where like, I think people, you know, make the claim like, oh, these top doubles players are great, but they could never make it on the singles tour, so they're just the leftover kind of like. I mean, even though they're amazing professional athletes, I think there's that
Yeah.
kind of like
Dynamic,
Which is-
ignorant mentality.
Yeah,
of
it's
like,
crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll go to battle against you because these players have different strategies, different
skill set,
different
yeah.
skill
Yeah.
set, 100%.
Yeah, I think they. I mean, the reality is we don't know because there's not enough money in doubles right now to warrant like a lot of the singles players playing doubles. The Olympics was huge, and I talked with Bob Bryan on my podcast about it recently, and like he was talking about Rajiv Ram and Austin Krajicek, who won the silver medal. The two guys from Australia, Ebden and
Peer.
yeah, John Peers won gold. So it was an all like double specialist final, and Bob talked about how important that match against Alcaraz and Nadal was because it was such a defining moment for doubles because
yeah.
the whole world wants Alcaraz and Nadal to win that match. It's the quarterfinals of the Olympics, so you're on to the medal rounds after that. And Krajicek and Ram won 2 and 4. And it was a pretty, like, they were clearly the
won.
better team.
Yeah.
Like, they were the better team. And yeah, Bob talked about how important that was. But I was also thinking of when you said that. So Desiree Kravchuk is one of y'all's
Team
Team
T-Dub, yep.
Tennis Warehouse. And I talked with her. She played doubles with Danielle Collins in Charleston last year in 2023. And we were interviewing Danielle, and she was talking about, she actually said, like, I think Des could be top 100 in singles for sure, like, because her ground strokes are so good. And the reality is, and I don't know why we're talking to YouTube haters right now, because that's a waste of time.
Right,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
sorry.
But
I was just going to...
the reality is, like, she doesn't play any singles tournaments. So,
Right.
like, of course she's not top 100 in singles.
And
But, like,
go
if
look
she
at her
focused
college
on that-
career.
Yeah,
She was
baby bullet.
Like,
baby
if she
bullet.
focused on that, she could probably be top 100 in singles. Like,
Yeah.
I think so. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that may not be true for all the doubles players. Like, a lot of them definitely get to the net, and they're just not very good from the baseline. And it's just a different game. And it's
Yeah.
like, it doesn't make them not professional tennis players.
Right?
Well, who was the guys that were singles? Like, was it Marinko Matosevic or whatever that did pretty well in dubs, but he was a singles player. And then there was, what's the other guy I'm thinking of? Croatian ATP doubles player that he was really good in singles. He was
Pavic was...
Mate Pavic, and then
he played some singles.
who's the other guy? He played head rackets.
Hmm.
I can't think of it right now.
Bektic is who he played with for a while.
Okay,
It might be somebody a little bit older.
a little
though.
older. Dodig,
Like-
Ivan Dodig.
Dodig.
Dodik's still playing.
He was
yeah.
like top 25, top
Yeah.
30 singles, I think, at
Yeah.
one point.
He's still playing doubles too.
Yeah, Ivan
Which
Dodig.
that's
He's like
the cool
40 or
thing.
41 now.
We're seeing the longevity on the double side,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
cool, I think. I mean,
Yeah.
Rajiv Ram's like 40, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kopana hit #1 this
Oh,
year
yeah.
at 44 years
Yeah,
old.
That's
Rohan.
wild. That's
Yeah.
cool,
Oh,
though.
I really wanted, like, and I knew it was never going to happen, but like in my dreams, I wanted Rafa or Roger to say, like, I'm retiring from singles. I'm going to play doubles for 3 more years.
Yes.
You know? Like,
Maybe he'll
Yeah.
come
oh,
back.
it would have been epic.
It would've been
Yeah,
epic.
same with Murray, Andy. I wish Andy.
Yeah. Any of them. Just play,
Yeah,
play
just play
some
dubs.
doubles.
Just play dubs.
Aw.
So something that just popped in my head when you were talking about the professional doubles dynamic and stuff, we and also what you just said about the Olympics, how the doubles specialists took down Rafa and
Singles,
Alcaraz.
yeah.
Because I think back to like the year that Federer and Wawrinka won the
Mhm.
gold, right?
Mhm.
You know, I was like,
Mhm.
that's
Well,
pretty
Roger's
special.
good at
Roger's just
everything,
special.
Okay.
Yeah. But we all love, as fans, a lot of times we love at Indian Wells when a lot of the top players play doubles. Like I remember watching a night match in the suite, and it was Djokovic playing with Fognini, and like it was just funny the whole time. Fognini's just a hilarious dude.
Yeah.
But like Novak made a couple unforced errors, and
He got mad at him.
Fognini chucks his racket. Like, what is this guy doing?
Like, you're supposed to be
He's
good.
getting pissed at Novak, and Novak's just laughing his butt off because he
I love
knows
that.
how Fognini is. But anyways, we love seeing these top guys play.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever think there could be like a commitment from these top guys, like say twice a year, just 2 tournaments a year, like halfway through the season when maybe there's not like a big tournament going on, where it's a doubles only tournament and these top players have to commit to playing, or not have to, but like they'll try to get like, Novak and Alcaraz or Kyrgios or, some of these guys, these big names to commit to a doubles tournament, and not doubles and singles like they do.
No, just doubles.
Because a lot of times in the Masters 1000s when they have a lot of them sometimes pull out at the end because they're committed to their singles, or it's a lot of tennis.
Yeah.
But if they could just have like a big draw of these top, I don't know, I think it'd be kind of cool.
No, they do it in the second round. They'll like play one round of doubles literally just to get a feel for the courts.
Oh, that's
and then they'll
so
back
crazy.
out in the second round. And
That's
it's like really
frustrating.
unfair to a lot of the doubles players who maybe just missed the cut or
Yeah.
something. I think the rules have to change, and like I said, they've started to experiment with it a bit. So Madrid this year was like the first like, I guess, experiment. And they dedicated 16 spots of the 32 in the doubles draw to doubles players. So players entering via their doubles ranking. And then they included 16 spots for teams entering via their singles ranking. And then what they did is they shifted the start date of the doubles back.
Oh.
I think it was after the second round of singles. So if you lose first or second round in singles and you have a week with nothing to do, you can enter the doubles draw.
That's cool.
And the idea is to get more singles players into the doubles draw. The theory behind that is more fans want to watch the singles players play doubles than watch the doubles players play doubles. My argument against that is I think the fans just want to watch tennis stars. The tennis stars right now happen to be the singles players because they get all of the marketing dollars. I was just in y'all's office over here, and y'all have got it on Tennis Channel, which is great. They're showing the Paris Masters replays. It was like a quarterfinal replay, and the WTA Finals is on live right now.
Yeah,
it's a doubles match. It's Desiree Kravchuk actually, and it's not on Tennis Channel.
Yeah.
They're showing replays.
That sucks.
So it's like it's kind of frustrating, and it's like if they got a little bit more marketing, then we might see more stars on the doubles tour, and people would want to watch. I mean, I've even heard people at Indian Wells especially talk about like, I like watching doubles more than singles. Some people have told me, I like watching Coco play doubles more than I watching her play singles. So people just want to see the tennis stars, and the stars are on the singles side right now because they get all the marketing dollars behind them.
And I'm biased because I'm from SoCal, but I feel like BMP is like a special tennis viewer or fan that comes to those, and it's like I would say 75% of those people are like they're in USTA, like so.
Because it's not in like a massive city like New York where a casual person will be like, oh, I'll go to the US Open today. Like you have to get there.
You have to get there.
Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My question to you then, hearing all this and like it all completely makes sense, who do you see right now on the doubles tour on the women's and the men's side who might be able to be that like character that can take the lead and maybe can be the one that like starts making doubles kind of get more marketing?
Yeah, it's a tough question. So one of the problems that doubles has is the teams can split a lot. So it's hard to root for like a particular team.
And is that more on the women's side than the men's? Or both?
I think both. Actually, it might be more on the women's. The reason it might be, I don't know for sure, but I'm kind of thinking through this as we're recording.
You're good.
No, the reason I think that might be true is because I think more singles players play doubles on the women's side because they're only playing 2 out of 3 at the majors.
Right.
So the guys are not going to play 3 out of 5 set singles matches and enter the doubles draw. But the girls are only playing 2 out of 3 in singles, so they can still play doubles on that off day.
What's the number one Czech girl that's been around forever? Siniakova?
Siniakova, yeah.
She's played both.
She's played both for a while.
And like
Elise Mertens
Ostapenko,
has played both for a while. Ostapenko's played both for a while. It's more common on the women's side. I mean,
and even Taylor Townsend we saw this year,
Townsend's
and Asia Mohammed's been trying, has been,
Jess and Coco.
So
yeah. So I think that's probably accurate, a fair statement. Yeah.
But who do you think who might have the personality to carry us? Sorry.
Can we convince Coco Gauff to stay? Just do doubles, Coco. You got to slam. You're good.
So Coco and Jess were great. Like they got on. there was one year, so 2 years ago, they got on Grandstand in New York, week 1, which was great. And it was on ESPN, which was awesome. It was like their first or second round match, which a first or second round doubles match is never on ESPN.
Right? Yeah.
They don't even when I'm watching the ESPN feed, they show the scores in the corner that are like rolling.
Mm-hmm.
They don't show the double scores. They just show the single scores. I have all these ideas that I want people to implement. As far as like doubles players, the players who are playing both are going to just be more popular right now. That's just the reality of it because they get more marketing behind them and more TV time and all that stuff. As far as doubles specialists who can be popular, I mean, you see a lot of it with teams who stick together. So Cabal and Farah, the Colombians, were really popular.
Former UFC Trojan Robert Farah fight on.
There you go. So they if you I went to some of their matches in New York, and like there's a lot of Colombians who live in New York, and they're just like going wild.
That's cool.
So two players from the same country helps a ton. And then some of these like players who are a big deal in like a smaller country, like they're one of the best athletes from their country, like Marcelo Arevalo is a good example.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like any of them with like a more kind of outgoing personality who's willing to do things like this and come on the podcast, which is not all of them,
Mm-hmm.
to be fair. I mean, I think that's one area where doubles players do need to step up a bit more, is try to, the tour's not going to fix this for you necessarily. Like, so take it into your own hands some and like grow your Instagram channel, like grow your social medias, be on podcast, say yes to interviews. And not all doubles players do that.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's hard for like when I go to tournaments and I'm in the there as a media person, like I'm requesting interviews and some of them say no sometimes, and I'm like, I'm trying to help y'all out. Like, come on.
This is for you.
And then I'm thinking like, don't leave tennis for pickleball. Leave the singles tour for the doubles tour.
Well, and then now I'm like,
just kidding.
oh, well, we have Bethany Maddox-Sands, but she is on the backside of her career or end of her career.
Well, she did a great job though. Like she's
Exactly.
on TV,
Yeah.
she's doing social media.
Yeah. She's
like the best
personality.
example of like an individual person. The Bryan brothers are the best example of a team, but they checked every single box. They were awesome. They were from the U.S. They were brothers. They stuck together. They never separated.
Yeah.
So cool. The guys are so cool.
So like they checked all the boxes and they're like the best example. I feel like, every player like has their own story. I mean, every person's like unique and has their own story. And there was somebody I interviewed, I don't remember who it was a while back, who talked about like, one of the doubles players is like super into hiking and goes backpacking all the time in his off days. I don't even remember who it was, but I was like, that's a really cool story. I bet there's other tennis fans who like backpacking. And if he started like a backpacking / tennis Instagram, like he could make himself popular. So there's all these like different ways to do it.
Yeah.
But they've definitely got to kind of take as much of it as they can into their own hands while still, being professional about, I have to practice and be professional about that stuff too. So
I've been following, so just talking about specific pros, I've been following Kyrgios a lot, like on his comeback trail.
Yeah.
And he's been teasing,
He's
AO.
going to be the one that makes everyone watch doubles. It's
AO
okay.
and stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, he's a guy, like if he played consistently, on the doubles tour.
He's
Oh,
great.
yeah.
Oh, he's amazing.
Yeah, he has good
And
hands, good serve, good
like
return.
with Donald Young coming back and playing with Taylor Townsend in the mix, and they made the final, right? US
Yep.
Open.
they did.
So then Nick and Jack Sock are type buddies from Lever Cup.
Bring
and all
him
that.
back.
And he made a joke on Instagram, like in the comments, like Kyrgios was like, come back for AO doubles to Jack Sock, and Jack Sock like put like a little like emoji, like, hey, you never know,
Oh, wow.
that'd be cool.
That would be huge.
Kyrgios
Wait, what
and
about
Sock?
he's not going to play with Kokonagis?
I know that's his boy, and usually that's who he plays with. But Kyrgios and Sock
That
would
would
be
be cool.
different.
That would be electric.
Yeah, that would be. That would
That
be
would
really
help.
fun.
All right,
That
That
Come
would
on,
help.
Nick, if you're
When
listening.
any tennis
tag
stars playing doubles helps.
Yeah,
So.
no, for sure.
Jay Sizzle.
I guess like I feel like sometimes I overtalk it, but it's worth noting also like the money discrepancy and the pay, and then even like the sponsor deals and like how that is, from my point of view, it's not even close to balance between singles and doubles. And again, we can get into like, oh, well, singles is on TV and like, you know, that's bringing in money. But like there are players in the top 10 on the at least WTA side of things that still don't have all of their gear being provided. You know, like, you know, it's still hard for them to find brands to sponsor them. I mean, thankfully, Tennis Warehouse helps.
Yeah. A lot of Vapor Pro 2s.
But even we can talk about Erin Routliffe, and I don't know if she's still number one WTA.
No, I don't think so right now. But she's like top 5 for sure.
Top 5.
Yeah.
Funny story at BMP this year. She was mentioning how once her and Gabby won US Open last year, and that was when finally Wilson
like stepped up to the plate,
and offered her rackets.
Wow.
Because she would always ask us, and at that point we weren't carrying the racket. I think she was using a Blade Pro. The Pro Labs. So she'd always be like, "Hey," and I was like, "I'm sorry, it's only available at Wilson. Like we don't have access to them." And then finally, after winning the US Open.
So was she just buying them from Wilson?
Yeah.
Wow.
So she was some of these pros that are not like top on the Wilson side of things, or like any brand, they get stuff at a discount. So she was still trying to
crazy.
Wasn't.
It's really like just a chicken or the egg problem, right? Like they don't want to sponsor players, like talking about the sponsors in this case, or the prize money. Like they don't want to pay more for players who aren't popular, but like they're not going to be popular unless you like invest resources into them.
Yeah.
It's like, which one has to come first? Like, do they get popular and then you invest resources, or do you invest resources and then they become popular?
Yeah.
It's definitely a balance. Like you have to have both.
And she's got such a cool personality, and like she's someone, like you mentioned, if anyone got to know her, I think it would be really easy to like just be on her side, like be on her team, just want to engage with her. She's like so tall, but she's like super kind, nice, funny, giggly, like has these awesome strokes. But like, she's one.
She's a good example because she's done a great job of, she's like very professional. She worked super hard last year to go from like around top 40 or 50-ish to like this year number 1 in the world.
Yeah.
And she's always been like supportive of like what I'm doing. She's always down for a podcast or whatever.
Nice.
So she's like totally,
she gets it.
Like
she's easy to work with.
Yeah, she gets it. Like she understands like, I've got to like put my name out there, and like this is like a part of the job. Like is to be like in the media. Like I'm, a face on the professional tour now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Roll Tide.
I was gonna say
also Roll Tide.
Yeah, Canadian who now played college tennis. Yeah, so she's fun. Okay, slight shift. We have a lot of listeners that are playing, USTA leagues and everything else. And I feel like a common question that's just very generic is there a specific best racket for doubles versus singles? And like, do you ever feel like you can like review something? I'm serious.
No, I know, right? I'm trying to think on the tour, like, is it the Pure Aero? Is it
serious.
Extreme MP? I don't know.
But you review products and test a lot of things. Like, have you found like in a particular like racket or string pattern that like works better for a doubles player rather than?
Yeah, I mean, I think Troy could answer this better than me. But and I know it's probably one of his like least favorite questions. What's the best racket for this? It's like
always
every time it's this.
Yeah, the answer is always it depends. Like, what is your game style? Like, do you play doubles and serve and volley? Do you serve and stay back?
Yeah.
Are you a 3-0? Are you a 5-0?
Do you serve with a continental grip or a pancake grip?
Yeah. There's so many different questions. And on the Pro Tour, it's going to be totally like the Pure Aero is a popular one, I think, on the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
The Prestige is pretty popular on the Pro Tour.
And 2 very different rackets.
Yeah, 2 very different rackets. I mean, it depends on your game style. I think that's step 1 is like knowing your game style and figuring out what you want out of the racket, right? So like for me, I use the Head Speed Pro.
Okay.
I've tried switching to some other stuff the last couple of years, and I just keep going back to it because I love it on returns, and I love being able to make returns consistently to apply pressure on the opponents, because I'm not a big server, and I could go the route of like choosing something that helps my serve a ton. But I think for me, it's more important to apply pressure on the return games.
Accentuate your strength
I
a little
think
bit.
so,
your return
yeah.
game, you know?
Yeah, I think so. And and I can find ways around my service games using my partner at the net in doubles.
Are you returning and coming in?
On second serves, almost always. On first serves, sometimes. It depends on the strength of the server. I mean, and how much I'm like defending.
Sneak attack by Will.
I know. I'm like, okay, now let's get some coach tips. Let's change this into strategy.
But a lot of this is because I don't play enough tennis anymore. So like from the baseline, I'm like, I'm not very good because I don't have a rhythm. But like my volleys like are so simple. Like I don't lose that. Like I can not play for 3 months and come back and still volley.
Yeah.
But the timing on the ground strokes, it can get a little bit sideways.
I love the self-awareness that you have. A lot of tennis players live in this fantasy world. But Will's preaching facts, you know. He's like, I know my returns get to the net, you know, my ground strokes might fall off a little bit, but the self-awareness of your game, I like that.
Like it's the without that, I don't think you can improve very much. Improve your game very much. So you've got to be realistic about what your strengths and weaknesses are, and even before that, you have to like understand the game. Yeah. Like it's much more important. Like power is one of the most overrated things in tennis, I think, doubles or singles. So like people who are saying like, oh, I need a really powerful racket. It's like, no, I don't. Like that's not the reason you're losing matches because you're not hitting the ball hard enough. Like once you figure out like tennis is actually a game of errors and like making the other team or your opponent uncomfortable is the key, not hitting winners, then you can kind of mold your game around that and then choose the right racket from there.
Yeah. Ad side or D side? Where are you returning from?
Mostly ad, because I have my forehand volley in the middle when I get to the net, which it gives me a bit more reach. I do like my backhand volley, but you know I don't have the same reach there. Although I do a mix of both. I actually prefer. I think I return slightly better from the deuce side actually.
Okay.
But it's not much better. Yeah. But then once the point gets going, I think I'm a little better from the ad side.
What about you? You're
I would
lefty.
agree with what he said. So I'm the opposite. I mirror kind of, but I feel like I return a little, as a lefty, return a little bit better from the ad side.
Okay.
Because I feel like more often than not, I can kind of hug the middle. And for a righty, most servers are righty that I play on the ad side, they have to kick it to my backhand, to
your forehand.
Forehand, yeah. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like I can kind of get away with finding more forehand returns, which is my stronger side on the ad side.
Yeah.
But then once the point gets going, like if you prefer your forehand, you want that in the middle. So then the deuce side's better. So it's like,
yeah, but I also, for me, I feel like actually I like my backhand volley better than my forehand volley.
Okay.
And I can kind of hug the middle and I move better to my forehand side. So I can kind of leave that side open and just,
create some space and hit like a running forehand or stretch forehand volley. Yeah, that makes sense.
Nice. I was thinking, so here's my big question for you. We got to unlock this. I see a lot of people taking lessons and hearing from coaches and like learning strategy, and the teaching pro or the coach or the video is telling them exactly how to like work on things and like, but then you put them on the court and you put the pressure on and there's no implementing of what you've been working on for the past hour or the past week. This is personal experience.
Yeah.
I'm like I was saying at the beginning, I'm always telling the players to like look to go at the feet of the net person, like when you've got a high middle ball kind of thing, and then be ready for it to come back and then boom, put it away, you know, kind of thing. But when push comes to shove, people get so tight, and this is like a generalization about tennis players. So like, what is the best way to like get out of your comfort zone, especially in doubles?
Yeah, this is something I've been like experimenting with and thinking a lot about the last few years. So I think practicing at the extremes is something I've been teaching a lot.
What's that look like?
So the best example that I like to do with players is like put away volleys. So I'll have them stand at the net. And one of my favorite drills is just like a serve plus one volley drill. So your partner's serving, the return's coming through the middle, and you just got to put it away. Like it's the most important volley in tennis because it's the one that happens or should happen the most often, unless you're over by the alley, which is a separate issue.
And the person at the net that's putting it away, are they in like an Aussie formation, like right in the middle, or are they in their normal?
It depends.
Okay.
Like you can run it out of Aussie, I, or regular.
Okay.
If you're using regular, you can poach, or maybe you just pinch a little bit towards the middle. But the point is to like create. So many club players, when they practice their volleys, they're going out and hitting, and they're volleying back to the person at the baseline. And then they get in the match and they hit the volley back to the person at the baseline. They don't practice these put away volleys.
It's like a rally volley.
Yeah. So like if you have a ball machine or a coach with a basket who can feed to you, just feed fast, like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and just practice angling the volleys off. But when I say practice at the extremes, I actually put like cones down or baskets or whatever. I put them on the singles line usually. If they're in the doubles alley, it's like barely, because I don't want them aiming for the doubles alley. I want them aiming inside the singles court because you're going to reduce your errors significantly. But during this drill, I want them, I'll put the target 3 feet past the net. Like it's a very small target. And I'll say, make it land short of that target. Like don't even hit the target. And I'd rather them have it land short of that target. And even if it's out when they're practicing it, because they're feeling the ball off the strings and they're feeling that super, super extreme angle.
The acute angle. Yeah.
So then when you get out in a match, you don't need that sharp of an angle.
Because they're going to
But you're capable of that sharp of an angle because you've been practicing it. So that the less sharp angle is going to be so easy for you because you've been practicing at that extreme angle.
I like that.
Even when they're doing the drill, like they'll miss a lot in the net because they're trying to go so sharp. And I'll say, that's fine. Like keep missing in the net. That's so totally fine with me.
Yeah.
The thing I want you to feel is the ball coming off the strings and getting really like around the ball.
Nice. I like that.
And a lot of
carving
that,
it like a scalpel.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it helps people so much. Like we ran a doubles camp in New York during the US Open, and it was 3 days. In the beginning of each day, we practiced this for like 6 minutes. So by the end of the camp, they had practiced this for 18 minutes. And all of them were like, my put away volleys are so much better. I was like, y'all practiced it for 18 minutes. That's it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And this was like with multiple people. Yeah. Anyways, so
But it's
such
like
a simple
it's
drill.
exploring, a movement pattern or a skill that they typically wouldn't see unless they were forced to.
I think the point of it is it's exploring or it's expanding your comfort zone. So like go to the extremes of your comfort zone, get comfortable, practice something you're very, very uncomfortable with over and over again. And then all of a sudden your comfort zone is bigger than it was before.
Yeah.
So that's how I like to think about the practicing at the extremes and helping people to do things in matches when they get nervous. Like you've got to practice the thing.
Same question. Sorry, I'm just gonna keep asking him because I need more. Okay, same extremes, but how are you practicing your serve and return? Because I see players practice their serves all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm big on like intention, but sometimes it's still really hard to like get that translated from practice with intention to match, and then all of a sudden you see the double faults and you're like, how are we giving these points away, especially in doubles?
Yeah.
Give me some of your favorite drills.
I don't know if I have anything specific on like serves and returns. I mean, I think practicing, if you double fault a lot, like just practice second serves. And for most players, like if you've never intentionally practiced serves, like start with second serves. One thing that I think is very underrated that I learned from Craig O'Shaughnessy is second serve depth. So a lot of players, especially club players, they'll hit these weak second serves. And like, I don't care if it's weak, but I care where it lands. And if it lands really short in the service box, that returner is going to be running forward with an easy high forehand, and your net player is kind of screwed.
That's on you.
So if you can set some lines down in the back like third of the service box and just practice that depth. And an easy way to do that is on the deuce side, aim wide for the wide corner, and on the ad side, aim wide for that corner.
Okay.
Because it's hard to hit that depth down the tee. It's just like a kind of smaller angle and target and stuff. So if you can,
less of a distance.
Yeah, just go with that wide serve. I think that's a good place to start. And then when you move on to first serves, It depends on your skill level, but I like to break it down either into 2, 3, or 4 based on your skill level. So if you're like a 3-0 or 3-5 player and you've never practiced this, like start with just trying to serve to their forehand or their backhand. And then if you get more advanced, you try add in the body serve. And then if you get more advanced, you add in body forehand and body backhand. And then within that, you can tie in, flat, kick, slice, all the different stuff. So
Nice.
it's nothing complicated, but that's how I like to think about kind of breaking down the serve. For the return, the name of the game with the returns is just making returns in doubles. Like just make as many returns as you can, and you're going to get a break. Off of a first serve, I think the lob return is super underrated. You even see ATP players doing it all the time now. It's a really, really effective tactic to like neutralize that net player off of a first serve. And it's something I don't know if I've ever seen a club level player practice a lob return. Like I see them hit lob returns, but I don't see them practice it. So set up targets and practice the lob return off of a first serve. And then second serves, targeting a big target cross court and return and volley if you're comfortable at the net. Maybe call a poach after the second serve. There's a lot of different things you can do, but using targets I think is a big thing on both serves and returns.
I have a personal question about my doubles history and evolution. Shout out to former playtester Coach Andy Gerst. So his thing with and I've gotten better at it, and a lot of it has to do with confidence and reaction time. But I think this is a big problem for a lot of rec players. So my thing is like when I play doubles and I'm the net person, my partner serving, say Michelle serving, getting closer to the net and closer to the middle, because a lot of times I want to either back up or get closer to the alley with either fear of getting passed down the line or just facing like a really good returner and the reaction time of being like really tight on the net, so I don't know, like if you have any advice on that. I'm thinking right now, just like my, history of teaching things or sports or whatever is like, if someone's scared of getting hit, by the ball, like say like a rec player or whatever, because a big returner, like I'm thinking right now, like maybe get him like a catcher's mask and a baseball like chest protector, and just have him at the net and just like
I was gonna say I'm blasting
like
balls at that
Happy
net
like
right
Gilmore, like Happy Gilmore when he's in the batting cages.
Yeah.
And like blast balls at him, and I'm like, I dare you to get hit, and just see like, because
You-
I think
if you
people
have
are
your
so
racket out,
scared
you're
of
not
getting
gonna
hit
get hit.
sometimes when it really is just like hardly ever going to happen. But it's that fear, like I grew up playing baseball and I was playing against a lot older kids, and I remember getting hit in the face with the baseball. Pitched, and like it ruined me as a batter. Like I was scared of the ball. I was like 7 years old, 8 years old.
Granted, that's fair.
But
Terrifying,
the fear of getting hit, or the fear maybe of just getting passed down the alley.
Yeah.
Because really, in a doubles, you watch the pros, and they're up at the net person, and they're closer, maybe kind of shading the middle more than towards the alley. But Andy used to always say, "Get in the red zone."
Yeah.
Like get in that middle zone. Stop being scared.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, almost all the balls go through the middle.
Yeah.
So like as the net player, that's what you got to take over. But this gets into like psychological stuff, right? Like it's definitely a fear thing.
I just went through my PTSD.
Step into the office.
So one thing is a big thing is what do you think? Not what does your partner think, but what do you think your partner is going to think if you get passed down the alley?
Yeah.
Right. So that's like a big psychological thing. So one way I've gotten around that in the past is if I'm playing with a new partner, before we step onto the court, I'll tell them, hey, I'm pretty aggressive at the net and I get beat down the line a lot. But I find for every one they beat me down the line, they end up missing 2. So it ends up being worth it.
Yeah.
So I tell them exactly that, and they're like, okay.
And they're
so
ready to cover anyway.
Then when I get beat down the line, like they already knew it was coming because I told them before the match. Whereas if I don't say any of that, I get beat down the line, then I walk back there on their serve, and they're like, okay, cover your alley on this next one. I don't want to hear that, because I know it doesn't work. Like, so that's one thing that can help, like from a partner dynamic, and then that'll help you. Like, it'll give you the freedom to start moving because you told them up front. If your partner has a super weak second serve, you do need to cover the alley some. So let's get that out of the way as well.
Facts.
If the opponent has like a short forehand, like you want to show them, I've got the alley covered. You need to go cross court, and your partner has more time to react to that ball. But on first serves, you're right. You got to get more towards the middle. I think to react or to overcome fear of like getting hit.
Yeah, coming up to the close to the net.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I guess you can go with either a sink or swim approach, like y'all talk about. So just blast balls at them, or you can slowly.
let's go
The drill I
practice.
did or I talked about earlier is great, and you can just slowly pick up the speed on
Yeah.
that. Like, and they'll get more and more comfortable, like taking that backhand into their like on their body, and taking that backhand volley and defending. But if your partner has a pretty good first serve or just a decent first serve, like you're really not going to get hit that much.
Yeah.
But you're going to get more comfortable by just hitting a lot of these reaction volleys.
That's what I was gonna say too.
You just got to
is,
train
like,
it.
Yeah,
like
the
it's not complicated, and people just
Yeah.
don't do it. Like people are like, oh, I'm just afraid of the net, and then they go out and practice, and they practice like rallying cross court the whole
Yeah.
time. It's like, you told me you're afraid of the
Go.
net. Like, go practice
Go.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the second you hit a good one, then you're like, oh, that was cool. I'm gonna do
Yeah.
it again.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
so cool as like
Well, I'm
as
not
a
personally
coach.
scared, but but like back in the day.
I thought
yeah.
you said it was a personal question.
Yeah, like back when I first started
gosh.
playing doubles, like I'd be like, oh, like tight on the net,
Yeah.
Yeah, we played doubles
Yeah.
for that string review
Yeah,
comparison.
Come on, bring it. Yeah.
But it's so cool to see, like, when you do this volley drill, and it's like the most simple volley drill. I mean, you're literally just hitting as many volleys as possible, like from very close to the net and angling them off. And when you do this a few times with players, and then you watch them play a match, and they hit that first one, like their eyes do light up. Like they're like, oh my God. Because it becomes like second nature. Like you're not thinking anymore about
Yeah.
like the volley, but you just see it because you've done it so many times.
Muscle memory.
And it's really simple, but people just, I don't know, people don't do it.
Nice. And we're gonna try that tomorrow at practice, ladies. Unfortunately, we've run out of time because it's just that kind of day. But Will, where can people find you and learn more about doubles?
So if you look up the Tennis Tribe, you'll find everything on my website. The newsletter is the best place to follow everything. So I send out a free newsletter every Thursday. And within that, I include the podcast for the week, all of our Instagram and YouTube lessons for the week, everything there. So the newsletter is definitely the best place to find me and to keep up with everything.
That's awesome. Well, we appreciate you joining us and talking all about doubles. And everyone go play and watch more doubles.
Yeah, hug that net.
Hug that net. Happy hitting.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, y'all.